Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the AHP Podcast. We're back another week with the great Raqib, and
I'm an okay raqib, I think.
no, you're the great Raqib.
Yeah.
Come on, you're one of the best.
Yeah,
You're the only Raqib.
my mom says I'm handsome.
Your mom says I'm handsome.
That's true. She's a little pervy that way.
We came back with you guys for another week of comedy and I don't know what, introspection, gibberish rabbit hole.
Yeah, talking about ways we want to die, maybe yet again. We'll see. We'll see.
Sorry about the depression last week. The depression was great with us.
Yeah, no. But it is 2020, so I feel like that's par for the course at this point.
Yeah. You know that meme that they show that there's a dog sitting in the house on fire?
Yeah.
And it says, it's fine.
Yeah.
I saw in a new one, somebody did a new illustration of that.
Yeah.
And his dog is screaming, it's not fine. It's not okay. It's not.
Okay.
And then the house is burned to the crisp.
Yeah.
And he just sits there and starts sobbing.
I like to think that's what my shrink is sketching on his pad whenever he's talking to me.
Yeah. Have you ever been to therapy?
Yeah, I think so. But it wasn't like
knock knock. Who's there?
Therapy. It's therapy. Sit down. We're gonna talk about why you want to have sex with your mom.
Fucking Freud.
He's like, no, it's okay. Everybody wants to fuck your mom too.
Everybody. Your mom is very famous.
Yeah. We have a list. It's a waiting list for your mom.
So those were not the friends of my mom.
No. They were more like clients.
Who paid for your university?
Who do you think pays for the sessions?
Yeah.
It's paid in punani.
People in Europe are all about the poontang.
This turned into a really weird rendition of Bruno all of a sudden.
Yeah, have you been to it though?
Yeah, we're good to go.
No, have you been to the shrink?
I did. It was
Anyway, we can discuss it if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. It was about my weight, obviously. So it's like, why do you...
I don't know what you're talking about.
He says while I'm denting my bed with my ass. It's just about like, why do I go out and eat so much?
Yeah.
Right. And we both came to the conclusion that it's not really about the food. I feel guilty for sitting in a comfortable spot and not ordering anything. So I order one thing, and then I order another thing, and then I order another thing, and the next thing you know, I'm eating like a debauched French king. And all because I just want to sit in an air-conditioned room with a chair that won't, give me deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah.
For long periods of time, because I just want to be in a place that's comfortable and people like clean it more or less. In a way, it should help in theory.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the whole problem with eating is that it's kind of an addiction when you're overdoing it.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike other addictions, you have to do it 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Or 2, or at least 1 time a day. And that's very complicated because if you're hooked on heroin, for instance, you can't go, I gotta do my 3 square heroines a day.
Yeah.
You can't just you can't quit food cold turkey.
Yeah.
So that can be a bit of a problem. Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I actually, I haven't dealt with weight issues in any way like that at all. But like you mentioned, like I think it was last week you told me that you were talking about suddenly you go on a bender.
Yeah.
And after it's over, you realize what you did.
Yeah.
And like to a layman like me who has no fucking clue what the eating disorder could be possibly, it's like, it's your will, that you're doing it by your will that you're doing it. You have complete control over what you're doing.
Right.
While it can actually sometimes be much more deeper than that, and it could be suddenly like you lose yourself into actually start eating, binging, and then finally coming out the other side, gaining weight. Well, to my eyes, I said, I thought it's a willpower shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Joe Rogan also believes that as well a little bit, which was annoying, but not annoying. Like, I mean, that's the world he comes from. It's like, no, if you have the willpower to change it up, then you will do it. But at the same time, it's like some people are. It's something that it can just suddenly take over you, I suppose. I mean, you can contradict me on that.
It's this weird habitual thing that you autopilot your way through. Yeah. And it's not just the substance, because it can happen for things that aren't substances at all, like gambling or porn, right? You're not consuming anything into your body. No. But you get caught in this weird cycle and pattern where it's so ingrained in your daily routine that you do it even without thinking. Yeah. And if you don't do it, the back of your head, you go to yourself and think, something's missing. Something's really wrong. And so you go back to the habit, because it's like, if you don't, you just walk around all day long thinking something is wrong or something is missing. It's like a very subtle form of OCD.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I haven't had that sort of an addiction per se. There was a period in my life that I was bored shitless. That I used to just go on either a movie or a pornography or something, but something excessive for 5 minutes, just like, and not even to have any kick out of it, but I would just like click on to see something to cause a bit of buzz. That's exactly into my head. Yeah, to give that bit of an endorphin rush. They call it. They give me that bit of an endorphin going like I want to like, as I said, it's like imagine you go into pornography, you will get aroused. I wasn't even going there to get aroused. I wouldn't have even got aroused. I would just like see that 2-second excessive, then I would just continue with my work. Then I was like, what the fuck am I doing with this? Then I realized, I don't have anything else really going on in my life. Yeah. And I'm using that, and I'm really bored. Yeah. And I'm using that as a means to get a kick, basically. Get some sort of a endorphin rush that you can get it from, for the lack of a better word, an adventure or a new experience. So then I was like, fuck. And it wasn't an addiction. It was like, it was immediately for me, I was like, all right, my time, I have a lot of free time on my hand, which I'm not using. And I might as well fill it up with stuff. So I started filling up my time with other stuff.
I think this is the reason why we try out all of these, like, somewhat difficult hobbies. Like, the podcasting right now, it requires travel, setup, the arranging of furniture. But it gives you something to do. Otherwise, you're just going to be having a staring contest with the ceiling, and occasionally you win.
When you win, then that's when you know you fucked up big time in your life.
You think to yourself,
you came out of the other side. That's it.
The abyss is staring back at me, and even the abyss is going, and get some help.
If the abyss is feeling bad for you, you really need help.
The abyss is going, are you okay? Do you need someone to talk to? Yeah. Not me though. I'm sick of you already. You've been staring at me for the past 4 months.
Yeah, I haven't blinked for 4 months. My eyes are watering. The fuck you want from me?
I look like I got the red eyes of Snoop Dogg after a weed bender. Just find a shrink. Get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something in between. Hell, get a pet, but don't fuck it. I don't know.
Kiss something. Fuck something. Do something.
Do something. So long as it's not illegal or you're not setting shit on fire that shouldn't be set on fire.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. So you kind of like start filling up the time, and you kind of, and then it just goes away. So immediately you're like, okay, I was bored. I was really, really bored.
I was just really bored.
I kind of had also a realization as like, I think it was an issue that I was waiting for others to reach out to do something while I wasn't like my fun was in my head was constructed by this idea that it's going to be such and such is going to call me and we're going to go out. There was no idea of a initiation by myself or to think what am I interested in doing and to actually start doing it. Or I invite others to go out or just fuck others, just go get the hell out of the house and do your own thing, and which is the road that I decided to take. I would ask everybody if they want to join, but I was like, I'm going there for my own personal fun. That's why I like embarked on dancing a little bit. Right. I embarked on going to comedy clubs a little bit, music festivals, and just by taking on those experiences, like I got open to other possibilities as well in life, and I was less bored. I was really looking forward to it. Like I kind of made the point. I was going like Friday or Saturday night. I am not staying in the house. I don't care what the fuck I'm doing. Even if I have to go out and have a pint by myself, I'm going to go do that. And I suppose that was one of the things that Malaysia kind of taught me. Being here in Malaysia kind of taught me because of the isolation that I felt for a considerable amount of time, even by the Chinese friends or I'm saying Chinese because like for a long time, like my circle of friends were mainly Chinese, right? Just happened to be, right? And it was quite alienating at the same time, I gotta say. Is like you'd be invited to parties, like, hey, let's come to my house for the party, and everybody are talking Chinese on the dinner table, and you're like, and it feels like shit. It really feels like shit. Like looking back at my life in Malaysia for the first I don't remember my first 5 years.
That's really saying something. That's half a decade.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I remember a blur for the first 5 years of it. Right. And I was talking to a few people, and they were like, "Dude, you were depressed." I was like, "No, I wasn't." They were like, "Yeah, you were depressed." I was like, "Do you remember how you were behaving?" And I was like, "I just remember going through a fog." Right. And they were like, "You didn't really pay attention to what the fuck you were doing."
Right. No, I described it to a mutual friend of ours, Rizman, right?
Oh, Rizman, yeah.
Right. And you know Rizman, he's well acquainted with like psychological issues because this boy's been through some shit. Right.
I don't know him as well as you do, of course, but I love the guy. Really love the guy. He was the first guy who gave me 4 minutes. He was like, "Dude, you're doing well. Go 4 minutes." I was like, "Really? Thank you."
Rizman is this rare soul that's got an infinite amount of faith in people, and they'll dismiss him for being naive, but he harnesses that in his boundless ability to just write like crazy and just come up with new jokes on a regular basis. He's still considered a new comedian, and I think that's just because of his age. He's barely out of his 20s. Yeah. But he's been given enough responsibility when he's not fucking up, because, again, he's still just a kid, to run certain things. And he gives a lot of leeway to, like, newbies and shit, because he's, because he understands that when you're new, and even if there's just a glimmer of potential, he'll give it to you.
Yeah, It actually was even overwhelming for me the first time I did comedy, and at first I thought he's mocking me. I literally thought he's mocking me. Right. I was like, because he was insanely supportive, and I knew him, and he had seen me enough in a comedy just as an audience member. He would always like be like, "Hey, I know you're coming around," and blah blah blah. But it's the first time I did comedy, he was laughing, and it was like, and then I was like, "Dude, that was so good." Yeah, and it just kept like amping me up, and I was like, "Dude, I'm already in the clouds. Are you mocking me?" No. And then I realized, he's genuinely very kind like that.
He's defined by his faith in people and his generosity. He can be quite timid, and he can withdraw really quickly. But generally speaking, it takes a lot It takes a lot for him to not like you. Now, I mentioned Rizman because I mentioned that I couldn't write anymore at one point, the jokes that I needed to perform. And so he's very empathetic. So he'll ask me, like, why can't you write? And I was like, I don't know. I just feel like, okay, have you ever seen a TV that's out of tune and all you can see is the static?
Mm-hmm.
That's the inside of my head right now. And he's like, oh. Yeah, no, that's depression, dude. That's definitely... I don't think I'm depressed. I don't feel sad or anything. I just feel like, I'm walking through a fog all the time, and he cut me off. Yeah, no, that's depression. That's you. You need to do something about that. I'm like, oh, so that's what that feels like. Oh, I just thought I was high or something.
Yeah.
I haven't taken any substances. I just thought my body was naturally producing weed on its own.
Yeah.
I thought I'm saving so much money.
My weed cells are growing.
Have you seen the inside of my body? It looks like Narcos episode.
Yeah, it's fucking bananas, really.
Yeah.
That whole idea.
Yeah.
I did went to back in my university. It was there was a shrink, and it was this British lady who was a shrink, and I was like, oh, good. I want to see what this is about. Yeah. And I wasn't depressed at that moment.
Right.
That was like way after my 5-year depression. But I just wanted to see what the fuck that whole going to shrink and stuff is about. And I didn't have much of a standard for it. And I'm much more interested in philosophical, like Jungian analysis. And those kinds of things rather than like conventional therapy and shit. And I went and I realized what she's doing. Like, she's basic, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing what I'm doing for my friends all the time. Yeah. And immediately, like 3 minutes in, I was like, oh, what a douche. I was like, I can't do what you're doing. Yeah. And you're just getting paid for it.
The difference is that the kind of people who can do that will not do it for themselves.
Yeah.
This is what I realized. Like, if you're constantly giving care to other people, right? And if you're like the ear that everybody leans on in order to tell them their problems, if you're the dude that everybody goes to for advice, there will come a point where you realize you've been doing this constantly because you probably at some point will need to help yourself. Yeah. Right? You're way too experienced with like misery and how to like cope with it.
At the same time, it's much more easier for people to care for others' problems and to care for themselves.
Yeah, basically. Because you can't shrink yourself. That would be really difficult. Yeah, Yeah, you've tried that, and all it's done is acquire a bunch of really unhealthy coping mechanisms. Yeah, there's only so many 3 a.m. sandwiches I can make. Before I start to realize this isn't therapy. Yeah. It's not great. So you do need at least somebody to talk to. Yeah. You ever heard of this thing called the rubber duck method?
Rubber duck method, no.
Yeah. So this is like how you externalize your own thoughts, right? There's this thing that programmers do where they can't think of a solution to a programming problem. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they have a rubber duck over there. And what they do is they talk to the rubber duck and explain to the rubber ducky what they're doing, how it works, and what the problem is. And through the process of just like talking to this inanimate object, the answer comes up. The answer comes up. Sure. It's like those episodes in House where he hates having to do the clinics. Oh yeah. But then as he's explaining or berating or like being snarky to like this mundane medical problem, he's suddenly like, but what if it is the cornhole? And then he just walks off suddenly. Yeah. Sometimes I'll do that, but then I realize I sound like a fucking psycho talking to myself.
Yeah, I did. It's not fun to be caught talking to yourself. By the way, no. I have been done. I have been caught doing that. Yeah, like you get into a very in-depth argument with yourself. To the point that maybe even your faces start being animated slightly. Yeah. Like your lips are moving a little bit, and I look up and somebody's like looking at you like, "Hey," I'm like, I'm just I'm singing a song.
Yeah, I'm not Jack Nicholson in in The Shining. Don't worry.
I'm not gonna hurt you. You have brains.
I'll do this where I'm having an argument inside my own head, and I'm muttering to myself, just like moving my mouth, just without no voice, just like standing there, just brooding, going, something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm doing this in a Chinese restaurant, and my mom is looking at me, going, "You're doing it again."
Oh yeah. My mom did that to me as well. Like I was actually like talking to myself. She was like, "Stop talking to yourself," and then she did that once, and I was like, "Stop talking to yourself."
And it's just,
and it gets bad sometimes because like I don't realize it, and I like suddenly go like, "Fucking cocksucker," and I just like whispered under my lips, just like, "Fucking cocksucker." Like suddenly, like one time she caught it. She was like, "What?" And I was like, "What?
What? No, I wasn't externalizing. I wasn't sub-vocalizing my repressed rage or anything.
Fucking cocksucker."
Now, if you excuse me, I need to take these bottles of kerosene and all of these rags to the back of my car and go to a government building. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, by the way, while I'm out, do you need any milk or bread or eggs or anything? I just... once I do some anarchy, I thought I should do some grocery shopping.
I mean, sometimes your thoughts get dark as well, especially towards other people. To an alarming rate.
Yeah.
Like I'm studying this concept of Jungian shadow. Yeah. I don't know if you know about that.
No, I don't really know.
Do you know Carl Jung?
I know Carl Jung.
Yeah, that the concept of everybody has a demon in them. That it came like I don't know if Jekyll and Hyde. The story of Jekyll and Hyde was the inspiration for it, but then it's about that you're as capable. There's a side of you who's capable of destruction and anarchy and misery and everything that you maybe even disagree with in the world.
Right.
Lying, cheating, stealing, raping, all of that.
Yeah.
And it's just silent in there. And some people get either engulfed by it and they become monsters, or some people tame it and become great leaders and people and become whole.
Right.
And one of the ideas that becoming one with your shadow is actually one of the highest achievements you can have, aims you can have in your life. And I was one time really contemplating what I'm mentally going to do to this guy. Yeah. And I realized my mouth, and part of it was actually me sinking my teeth into his cheek and laughing. And I was laughing in my head to his screams. Oh no. And I was laughing, and not only I was laughing in my head, I started laughing outwardly to what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And I was drooling in the mouth as well, and suddenly came to myself and I, oh, my shadow. Yeah. That's what it wants to do.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, it is there. It's not nice.
My problem is that the shadowy bits of me are a little bit more insidious in that the plans are plausible. Right? Yeah. It's not some extreme fantasy. It's this really structured, systematic way where where it tries and persuades me, after all the stuff that you know and collected about this particular individual or organization, you could blackmail the ever-living shit out of them, report them to the authorities, weaponize the government apparatus in order to take them down, hire a bunch of people to hack their accounts, dox the ever-living shit out of them, have them cancelled on social media, destroy their lives, burn everything down, that they know it's love, that they will never fuck with you again. And then you realize, when did I become a Bond villain? Holy shit.
To be honest with you, it does, like, I had... It's not that I've gone through with the idea, but when you say like at all, like there is one part of you that wants to really Like, and it's not even like physical. Like sometimes you think like, I want to do such a damage to this person that he will remember it for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And I will ruin that part. Like, I'm going to take that part that he loves.
Yeah.
And I'm going to crush it.
Yeah.
So bad that he will never look me in the eye again.
Yeah.
Like, if he goes to sleep, he'll be thinking of me.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do to him.
Yeah.
It's like, he goes home and sees me fucking his mom.
While making eye contact, like American Psycho. And at the end, you have to think to yourself, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why the movie Unhinged came out. Yeah. Me and my friend was laughing because he knows my best friend was laughing at me. He's like, that's you. Have you seen Unhinged?
I haven't seen Unhinged.
Have you seen the trailer?
I haven't seen the trailer, but it's I've been told in passing, and I think to myself, oh, I don't want to get ideas.
Yeah, I was looking at that going like, that's my mind. Because like this guy who's been going through some tough times now, and he's been fucked with excessively by Karen.
Yes.
And by Karen, who he apologized to first. Yes. Really. Yeah. Karen basically honks at his car because he didn't move at the green light. Yeah. And then just and then goes aside, and then he follows her and pulls up next to her and says, I'm sorry I didn't move. I know you're having a hard time. I'm going to apologize. Yeah. Would you accept my apology? Yeah. And it would be great if you apologize back for doing that because I've been going through some hard time. Yeah. And she's like, I don't have anything to apologize for. And that's the moment that the guy who has just killed his ex-wife and the boyfriend in his house snaps. And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ruin your life. And he goes on to burn his brother alive. Oh, geez. Kill the brother's fiancée. Kill his friend. And it goes on this entire tirade. Yeah. And like it was a real like it was funny because everybody were rooting for Russell Crowe. Ah, jeez. I was rooting like, get that bitch, Russell. Get her. But at the same time, it's a very gory film because like when it happens you go like, oh crap, like those ideas that you have are now really in front of your eyes, and you're like, oh God, I don't think I want to do that now. It's just really it's really difficult to contend with because we're raised with these very, very... By the way, I hope you guys are enjoying this weird podcast. I'm going to slow this down for a little bit. Like, okay, so it can be very difficult to contend with because we're raised with these moral ideals about how people should behave and how people should feel and treat each other. Yeah. Then you grow up and realize nobody has been following these rules, and everybody is like, if not okay, at least quiet about people being jerks to other people. Yeah. And then you find yourself having to be the bigger person all the time. Yeah. And then all you can do is fantasize about doing terrible things, right? Yeah, and eventually at one point it just fucking snaps. Yeah. Or either snaps or it turns into this weird sense of desperation for an individual to be like, I didn't stand up for myself my entire life. Yeah. I was fucked with my entire life. And that's not something you want to have in your thing. I have seen more people putting up with shit that they shouldn't put up with than I've seen people who snap. Both of them are equally on the wrong in a sense. It's that you need to be able to showcase that you have enough capability of doing damage. Yeah. And we're not talking about physical violence or anything, but to be like, don't fuck with me. I can be that if I want to be. Right. But both of them are at the same time is like not a goal to have, but to have it somewhere in the middle to be like, like, you're not always the bigger person. Yeah. And being the bigger person just by being silent is being miserable. Yeah. Do you know Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, I know Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, he had this. He was reading from the Old Testament, I think, and there's this old word. There's a sentence that says, "The meek shall inherit the earth," and he did search for that. And there are different interpretations on that terminology, the meek. But the one that he found, the meek, also means people who can use their sword properly, but they decidedly sheathed it. They wear it sheathed. So, which he realized that you will be prosper in life. You will actually live a lot better in life should you know how to do proper damage. You just decide not to, unless it really comes down to doing it.
That can be the problem, though, because how do you know? That's the difficult part, right? Experience could teach you.
Yeah.
A moral code could teach you, but moral codes can't always apply to all the situations that you encounter. Especially if you live in a society that's like in flux all the time, constantly changing. If you're in a very, very, how do you put it? A very uniform kind of society, right? Conformist, that's the word I was looking for. Then you always kind of know what to do.
Yeah.
But if you're in a place where everybody's kind of different, everybody's still just trying to figure shit out, and you encounter that one person who just doesn't care, then what do, right? Because the fear, at least for me, is how far am I willing to escalate this shit? And then how far am I willing to, go down this path until diminishing return starts kicking in?
Exactly. Yeah.
So my main mode of self-defense is just avoidance. Like, I will just spin on my heels and walk away. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this shit. I won't have to deal with this shit if I just take my ass and just walk away.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll find it annoying as shit because all they want to do is yell at you, but you're not even going to entertain the act of standing there to take it. You just walk away.
There's as you said, it's experience.
Right.
One. The other one is like I practice martial arts, and the idea is that you don't have an ego. You shouldn't have an ego in any way. You're learning it, but you're not doing martial arts to fuck someone up. You're doing it in case it comes down to fucking someone up. You'll be able to do so, but the aim is to have zero ego. So which I really admire the people that have that. Like, one of my friends or one of my acquaintances is a Muay Thai champion. Nicest guy ever. You look at them in the streets, there is no way you can tell this guy has I don't know how many fights under his belt, and he's a Muay Thai fighter, and he hits like a motherfucker. He hit me one time. I was holding a pad for him. I could feel my spine shifting in my body. Like, I absorbed it with the pad, but for God's sake, he hits hard. I watched his last match. Not one of his last matches, but he had a match in Kuala Lumpur. He had two fights one night. With one of them was like this gigantic Scottish dude who was like twice his size, and he had like fucked them up, jumped up in the air, elbowed him. Can't tell him, but can't tell he's a fighter. The point is, you can't tell this guy wants to fuck you up. He has no ego. Like, one time I found that he was looking at like the memes that I don't even find funny, that it was just so PG.
Yeah.
Look, the bear, took the honey. Dude, if I see you, like, if I'm an asshole, like a giant asshole who's like, come to the pub and see you doing that, I'll think about fucking with you.
Yeah.
Little do I know that one of your kicks can like cut my legs off.
Yeah.
And that's the idea, to not have that ego to that point of like, the words and yelling and shit isn't supposed to fuck with you. The idea is to, like, they say, like, only if your life is on the line to get into. It's not just a matter of physical altercation. It's also a matter of actually making a stand to see what is at stake. One of the things that I learned from comedy is by this guy called Big J. Orkeson?
Orkeson, yeah.
I really did. For some reason, it really resonated with me. I don't really that I stopped taking insults personally or care much about it. So like, he said like his father-in-law said, if words can never hurt you, nothing will.
Right.
Like, so it's like some guy called him and said, "Hey, Big J, your mother sucks cock." Down the bridge. He said, and he said, "Yeah, clearly she's not charging enough." because we're still eating spaghettis every night, and then he looks around and he's like, "But it's not true. Like, what am I gonna be like, Mom? I just heard.
Yeah,
she's a nurse in the hospital.
Right?
And like, is Joe out of work? Joe's my stepfather. So you kind of have to be able to master it.
I don't know if this is the solution, but I think it really helps, and that's just knowing your worth and being aware of how not shitty you actually are. Right? Yeah. Because I think a lot of us, particularly comedians, we walk around just beating ourselves up over things that we're not. Yeah. Things where we should be. But if you have an honest look at your own life, there's a lot to be proud of, I think. A really good example is a comedian friend of mine, really famous, right? He basically got into a situation where he had to apologize to somebody for a bunch of things that he said in my defense. Right?
In your defense?
In my defense. Because he was pissed off at somebody for, something that didn't come through. And he was pissed off on my behalf. So he was like reprimanding a manager, and then it got back to the owner of the company. And then owner of the company told this other famous comedian that this is what my friend said, and he was pissed off. Said, "I'm not going to work on another show with him or with you unless I get an apology from this dude, my friend." So that's what happened. So they set up a meeting. So my friend had to show up. He apologized, and this other dude, starts berating him for 2 hours straight, just yelling at him for 2 hours straight, and he just sits there and takes it. And I was like, what kind of Zen Buddhist monk patience do you have to take a 2-hour yelling from this prima donna dipshit? And he says, because everything he said was directly at things that I've already achieved. Like, he asks a bunch of rhetorical questions. Have you done a show on this streaming service? And he's like, yeah, actually I have. Oh, well, have you ever even gone abroad to perform? Yeah, actually I have gone abroad to perform. Oh, well, have you ever been in a documentary about? And he said, actually, yeah, I have been in a documentary about stuff. Everything he kept trying to challenge this dude about, he just sort of mumbled a response to the effect of, yeah, I've actually done those things. I don't know why you're asking me like I haven't done any of those things. But thanks for asking. So that's why he could take it for 2 hours, because at one point he realized this dude is attacking him at a level that he doesn't have to explain himself for anymore. Yeah,
it's so small for him to even want to get engaged. It's like a mouse nibbling at a cat's feet and fuck up.
This mouse is nibbling at my fungus toe. It's not worth it.
Listen, Joe Rogan.
Listen, Joe Rogan. This mouse is eating my fungus toe. You know what? He can fucking have it. I don't need this fungus toe anymore. Mickey over here can eat the whole damn thing. I don't care. I think that's what really helps, is when you know your self-worth, or at the very least you understand, I have been through all of this shit in my life, and I have achieved at least this much.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain shit to you or anybody. I'm just gonna stand here and nod and imagine that you're essentially SpongeBob SquarePants sucking on a helium balloon.
Yeah.
I'm going to imagine that you're a Nickelodeon cartoon thought up in a fever dream after taking acid.
Yeah.
And I think if you can do that, you'll generally be okay. It's still going to feel like crap.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to walk away and go, it's just it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes for me, it's you need to be very self-aware, and I think comedians are self-aware in general. There are a few who are just like playing pricks and they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
But being self-aware of your strengths and weaknesses, basically, to be like, and to have enough balls if you're in the wrong to actually say you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge. I used to be very defensive when I was younger. Now, when I fuck up, I'm like, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And just it takes strength for another individual, for any individual, to be like, hey, listen, I fucked up. And it was, no one is to blame but me.
Yeah.
And just by having that, it gives you a bit of a less surface for people to bounce stuff off. Just accepting it. So it's like, hey, I accepted what you have to say, through what you have at me right now. Now we're done. Now can we move on from this? Rather than to be engaged in this very fucked up argument about, I don't know, God knows what.
This weird war.
Yeah, at the same time, it's like but I do tend to get pissed off if somebody's trying to get, like, this person is like berating your friend, trying to find a way to sneak a knife into his rib cage. Yeah. And he's not able to do so.
Right.
I get how your friend could have managed it because he had the strength and the upper hand to him in that sense. Yeah. But at the same time, for me, it would be like, stop wasting my fucking time. I already apologized. Yeah. Now move on. Right. For God's sake. Because I don't think I would be able to do what your friend did.
Yeah. The caveat for that kind of approach is that you need to be able to, number one, have actually done something with your life. Yeah. And number two, to actually remember that you have done something with your life. Number one is hard enough as it is. Number two is even harder. Yeah. Because even when you're good at something, especially when you're good at something, you will sort of autopilot your way through life, thinking that what you're doing is no big deal. Yeah. And that's kind of how you cope with the pressure too. If you're a performer, if you're a person in a high position in an organization, and there's a lot of pressure, you deal with it by just telling yourself it's no big deal. Yeah. It's no big deal. But by the time you get to the other end, you've been telling yourself that it's no big deal for so long, you don't realize that all of this stuff that you've done is actually a pretty decent achievement. Yeah. So now you may have to remind yourself that you're actually worth some shit. That can be very difficult, just remembering that you're not completely useless.
I think most comedians do have that problem, though. Yeah. Thinking that brain, that you're never good enough. My joke writing has come to a halt. I don't know why. I don't know if it's depression, but I don't think it's depression. I'm not depressed, really. Yeah. I'm going through 2020 with the rest of the people. Right. Beginnings of 2020 with the whole lockdown and everything was difficult, of course. But how's your writing going on? Because right now for me it's like maybe a joke a month.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Joke writing can't really survive in a lot of desolation. You know? Unless you're really, really plumbing the depths of your own mind, looking for like weird little thoughts. Yeah. And you care enough about your own thoughts to write them down before you forget that you even thought them. Yeah. Here's the thing. You'll come up with a lot of stuff. Yeah. But you won't think that it's actually any good enough to actually be worth writing down, and then it gets lost forever. Oh yeah. So this happens a lot with comedians. Like you're kind of down on your own ideas, so much so that you let them just disappear because you think, well, that's funny to me, but I don't know if that's good enough. And that's a constant issue, because when I hear fellow comedians at the Mama, for instance, just telling their life stories, I'm slapping my knee laughing. Yeah. But these guys are like, it's just a thing that happened to me a long time ago.
Like, dude, that would be pain to see it, pain to hear you say it.
Right. Like, we talked about Rizman, right? Yeah. And this is a thing. I don't know if he's turned into a bit yet, but he totally should. It's about when he was living in Bahrain during the riots. Yeah.
No, he hasn't told me about that.
Yeah, no, he was in Bahrain during the riots.
Shit.
Yeah, this boy has gone through some shit. They were in the streets, and there was like tear gas and tanks in the streets. And all of his friends were like, they want to go and riot because it's like, that's what you do.
It's fun.
What's our cause here? Fuck it. We don't know. Riot.
Running.
That's the vigor of youth, I guess. And he tells it so much better than I ever will. But he talked about they were tossing smoke bombs, right, at the crowd, and this one dude, Egyptian dude, right, he was like a A-stop pitcher for baseball for whatever reason. He picks up one of the gas grenades and he flings it across in this beautiful arc, and it just like 3-pointers into the turret of the tank. Just ka-tong, like nothing but net. And the next thing you know, the soldiers are coming out, just gagging like, fuck, just like cockroaches out of a sewer. Just, this is not what we planned.
And then, smells like ass.
And then it smells like ass. It smells like ass.
The fuck is this?
It smells like dick cheese.
Smells like your fungi toe.
It smells like fungus toe. Oh my god. And then he says that Habibi, he had shawarma free for a month after that. Everywhere you go, free shawarma for a month.
Oh god.
And just the way he weaves the story when he tells it, I'm just dying laughing at him. I'm falling off the chair. I'm like, I broke my back. Listen to your fucking joke. Help me up, you asshole.
Oh god.
But he won't say it because he's like, it's just a thing that just happens.
He has to say it. I'll pay to watch him say that.
Yeah, I would literally mug somebody for money. I could get money legally, but if I had to, I would literally mug somebody for money just to see him do that as a bit.
Yeah, a lot of the comedians like say a story in passing.
Yeah,
and it comes out of you're like, that's a full bit with 10 punchlines just in it. It was like recently I had a conversation with a friend of mine who I hadn't spoke to in quite some time. He's Malaysian. He's Malaysian Chinese. The most funniest person I have ever met.
Right.
Like, just by the way he articulates words, you will laugh. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't say motherfucker, he says motherfucker. and he can rap in Spanish while not knowing what he's rapping about.
Right.
He listens to Latin rap and he starts throwing this.
I'm just imagining Uncle Roger doing Cypress Hill for some reason.
Yeah, he's like very puta de la madre. He just keeps going and incredibly funny. And I was talking to him. We had 6 bits just coming organically out of that conversation.
Right.
And I'm actually trying to convince him to do stand-up comedy.
Right.
Because he's like he's very articulate. He kind of reminds me of the Chinese version of you.
Yeah. Okay.
But might be a little bit more flamboyant.
Okay.
and he's also like overweight.
As you do.
As you do. But at the same time, it's like he's like I did made fun of him. Like I came out of this bit. I don't know if should I say it on the podcast.
We'll see. You can cut it out in post.
Yeah, because we were talking about. He said I gotta go get my dogs out, but the way he articulated it, it sounded like he said, "Hold the phone. I gotta go get my dogs out." Yeah. And I heard I gotta go get my thongs out.
What?
Because we were talking on Discord, so there was a bit of a rumble in the thing. So I heard thongs, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He was like, "Dogs." motherfucker dogs. And then he came back.
Yeah.
He went and got the dogs, came back, and
Yeah.
he was talking and I said, "Oh, did you get your thongs out?"
Yeah.
And then that bit revolved into him doing a strip show.
Oh,
and
no.
I told him about him doing a strip show.
Right.
But instead of saying dancing around the pole, I said you need to dance around the column. It's like, oh motherfucker, because I'm so fat, I need to call it's like that. So I'm like thinking about writing a bit about fat people doing striptease. You don't want to see them do it.
Yeah.
You need a Greek column. Around.
Yeah. Your pole needs to be made out of tungsten carbide. Some fucking adamantium.
Adamantium shit.
Yeah.
Captain America shield.
Yeah.
Vibranium.
Yeah. You need a sentinel to just hold the top. Yes.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Just.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like you need to dance.
Yeah. You're looking at this dude dancing. Oh, don't smash this.
You got 20 tits. Come on.
How no smash? No smash.
No smashing for you.
Yeah. No, it is a little complicated, right? Because in a social setting, you can be a lot funnier, and then you're on stage with the lights on you, and then the audience is, pin drop quiet, and then it's like, oh, this shit is really awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like stripping in church. It doesn't quite.
Yeah, stripping in church as you do.
Yeah, it's a different denomination.
You go into the confession room, you start stripping. Oh, forgive me, Father. Oh, for my father.
I'm sorry, Daddy, I've been bad. Daddy. That's not how you say it, you hoe. It's forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Not sorry, Daddy, I have been bad.
Now open your mouth. I heard this comedian, I think he's Irish, that said, they asked him, how did you lost your religion? He said, I was 12 and I went to the confession room and I started confessing, and I suddenly came to myself. I was like, wait a second, I am a 12-year-old kid telling sex stories to an Irishman, to a horny Irishman who hasn't had sex in his entire life.
Right.
This isn't gonna go well.
No. Now you know why the molestations happen.
Yeah, you get blue balls.
Yeah. The bluest of balls.
Yeah. Like, tell me in detail, how did he put his penis in you?
Yes. Was it over or under?
Over or under? Yeah. Are you a D cup or a C cup?
It's important. It correlates to how many Hail Marys.
Hey, how many Hail Marys you need to do? It's a C cup, D cup.
It's very important.
Fuck.
It's it can be really difficult.
But the thing about the social setting you mentioned is like right now you and me are ping-ponging off each other, and our energy is going either up or down depending on the topic. Sure. And we're laughing more. Yeah. I'm sure if I just come into your house and just suddenly be like, hey, let's talk about the stripping around the column or getting raped by a priest. You won't be
I'm just trying to eat toast, my dude. Why are you? Why are you laying pedo priest on me?
Yeah, like 50% chance you will not be able to laugh as much as you did right now in regards to it, because your energy wasn't there.
That's right.
That's the same thing with a comedy club, because the crowd at least 60%, 70% of the time come with the energy at the zero level.
That's right.
And they're expecting to reach your level. You're expecting to be able to get them to your level quick. That's when they can really enjoy it. Like a Louis C.K. joke or a Bill Burr joke might not land as properly if they do not have a proper how should you put it? Proper warm-up act.
Yeah, like a warm-up act.
Like Bill Burr, like well-known comedians, yes, because you already have that expectation, so you're already amped up regarding them. But unknown comedians, comedy club comedians who are not known, and we have a crowd who are like drinking and their energy is at zero.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a harder time trying to convince them that what you're saying is funny. While you can actually make them laugh outside when you're having a social setting, and you're getting excited because you're talking with each other, so you're having this back and forth.
Yeah, it's really difficult because there's a compounding effect with a bunch of strangers in a room.
Yeah.
Who subconsciously are socially conforming to each other's expectations of behavior.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you got somebody one-on-one, you know instantly what the beats are and what the tone is. So you end up being funnier in small social situations if you're on stage.
Yeah.
Though, that having been said, you know, in a comedy show, that job often lays on the hands of the MC, the compere. You know, you'll notice you do a lot better if you're closing the show or at least closing the first half.
Yeah.
That's something I'm very looking for. Like, I've gotten good enough that the organizer will have me close a half.
Yeah.
And that usually means that both delight and disappointment and any other expectation in between has already been established by the time I'm going up.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be as disappointed if I do poorly, and they're going to be pleasantly surprised when I do very well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a privilege that you get sometimes when you get good enough to be at the end of half or the whole of the show. There's a lot more pressure to do better.
Yes.
But if you've been given the last act slot, safe to say you're probably good enough to do it. Otherwise, why would they pick you in the first place, right? But that's kind of the only way, unless you're really good and you have a bit of time to work with the audience. Yeah. You do a little bit of crowd work. You do a little bit of, just short, sweet little jokes for them to get in the mood. A little bit of conversational humor to get them warmed up. Because now, a really good comedian, I feel, when they're doing crowd work, when they're doing comedy, they treat the entire stadium as if it's just one person, and you're talking to this one person that happens to be the size of an entire stadium. Yeah. Rather than thinking about them as just like a collection of many, many people who have the same mind, which is a lot more intimidating. But if you think about the whole audience as just one person and that person is your friend, I think you might do a lot better as a comedian. Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing, what was it called? I was going to mention something I totally forgot. Here's what I wanted to mention in regard to that. Yeah, I can do crowd work for sure. I haven't been able to do that. I haven't got to it yet. I'm still way too new for this to be able to do crowd work, especially because I have a narrative that I need to establish.
That's right.
So if I'm trying to do a narrative, the good thing about having a narrative is that it kind of removes room for hecklers to intervene in the middle of it, to break it up. But aside from that, I can do crowd work on. I can either do it at the beginning, or like I only did it once when I was talking to the Swedish guy from Switzerland. Yeah, it's like especially white people, and I just pointed at him, and he was like, "What the fuck?" But he. At the same time, but one thing I really enjoyed when we're talking about energy level and you're closing up at the closing your second half and stuff like that. Yeah. One thing I loved was it's quite a challenge is that going after someone who kills the energy. Ooh, yeah. And trying to recover from that.
That is really tough. Yeah.
Like that's something that I did it once, and I won't consider it a full-blown experience of an event as such. Right. Because there wasn't enough people in the crowd.
Yeah, it's another problem as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one if there's more people, that can dictate where the feeling is going to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you have a table of 6 Indian people sitting there with their mom and dad and their entire family, that's all there is. Yeah. You're going to have a huge problem trying to manage that because... Yeah. It can be quite annoying, actually. Yeah. But there's also, I learned a lesson which I am going to implement it next time when that happens, but I'll get to that point later. I was going after a particular new comedian, new open micer who was not really properly prepped for it. I don't want to say she's bad or he's bad for that matter. I'm not going to reveal the gender, which I think I will in a few seconds, because the said individual got on the stage and said, Sly was raped.
Oh, yeah.
And then didn't continue with the joke. There wasn't any joke.
Right.
It was and she moved on to another point.
Right.
And then forgot her or his joke.
Right.
And then required to see the list.
Yeah.
And she did that. Fucking said she. I'm
trying to be diplomatic.
I'm trying to be diplomatic. It's a non-binary.
Yeah.
But it's a she.
Yeah.
And she forgot her jokes, and then she did that again next week after.
Yeah.
For like 3 weeks, she got the mic, and the first thing she would say, Sly was raped, and then it would stop right there, and you're like, all right, what? And you just feel this, everything just got out of the room.
Yeah.
Like,
everybody's buttholes puckered up.
Oh, shit. What
am
am I going to do? And then she keeps forgetting her jokes. She's like, can you guys pass me my bag so I can check my jokes?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah. And the time was passing by, and I remember like going, and at first I was like, God, please don't beat me after this.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it was like, let it be me.
Is that the shadow inside you going, I'm gonna fuck this up?
I'm gonna fuck this up, yeah. Exactly. Because I was going like, man, if I'll be after this, then I'll have, I will manage to do something. If I can manage to take the room up from that hole, then I'm a real comedian.
You would be, yeah.
And I didn't do bad, but it was still not good enough because it was just a very small crowd of people. Yeah. But I did realize a lesson from that. We were going to my point that I wanted to make prior to this was that I realized when this shit hits the fan, and you're at the bottom of the pit, a mistake every comedian made, even that night, the mistake every comedian made, was we were all trying to dig up. We were all trying to climb ourselves out of that hole because it was very apparent how the night is going to go. What we decided, what we really need to do is to dig down.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We need to dig down, and I already was like thinking about the speech I was saying, like, let me say you guys this, you're gonna have to climb up, to get out of hell. But the way out of hell is to dig down. And I thought about, and I always want to do an aristocrats joke.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You know the aristocrats joke. Yeah. And I didn't do that. But I'm thinking about next time I find myself in a situation where you're cornered in, all bets are off, and no matter how hard you try to make that joke funny, the joke is funny, but it's not be handled well anyway. Nobody's in the mood for it. You better fuck things up now. They're like a family of 4 walk into an agent's office. Just go with that.
Right. It can be very difficult
to really trash the
audience after that. I think
the lady who was the mother of the group was actually not heckling, but she was like talking. Over a few of us, including me, like she was talking to the husband constantly. I think Xander went up. Xander went up and like kind of put her on the spot.
So Xander is an off and on comedian. He tries. Sometimes it falls a little flat with Xander. You know, he's
new as well.
He's very new, and he's still sort of inexperienced on account of. He's still just got this other stuff to do. He wants to.
I haven't seen him in ages, though.
Yeah, he doesn't show up very often, so he's constantly rusty. Props to him for trying, though. But he can find himself in these really awkward situations, and I don't think he's developed the skills to dig himself.
I did saw him grow exponentially, actually, for a brief period of time. I mean, this was till I last saw him, basically.
Right.
I haven't seen him in like a year and a few months now. And he, basically, what he did was, he would do these jokes that was like a little awkward, and it didn't have a proper punchline, but the problem was that he would also laugh at the joke itself. Right. I saw him at the beginnings of his stand-up.
Right.
And then there was like this sudden step forward that I saw that he wasn't laughing at an awkward joke or any joke that he would do, and he would still be much more confident in his delivery. And I was like, all right, now, okay, he's moving now.
Okay.
And like the way he handled that night, I was like, all right, he's actually developing.
But in this particular situation where he found himself in the small crowd,
he did well.
Yeah,
actually, he did well. Yeah, he did well. Like we all kind of championed him after that.
Wow.
Like tonight you became a real comedian.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
because I can only imagine myself in that situation, and the only thing I'll be able to say after I go up for somebody who takes the air out of the room, is to go, well, that happened. Was it just me? Was I having a fever dream? Did somebody talk about getting violated on stage? Do you feel violated right now? I feel a little violated.
It takes confidence to do that, to be able to go off script.
Yeah.
For me, I won't be able to go and address. I know the comedians talk about like you need to address what happened previously to be able to move on, but for me, I don't think I'll be able to do that. No.
It takes a little bit of it takes a moment of realization to realize that that's a thing you have to do, and it's an emergency move. You know, it's like pulling on the handbrake when the car's going out of control almost. But at some level, it's just an adaptation of what comedians do all the time anyway. It's the only difference is that for the jokes that you already have, you've written down the observations, and on the day where something happens out of control, you just have to do it. You just have to make the observation, call it out, and then just sort of like put your own spin on it. But you know, in general, that's what comedy does. It's, you know, everybody doesn't want to address the elephant in the room. Yeah. And your job as the comedian is to go, fucking elephant in the room. Yeah. It's got tusks, a trunk and shit. Looks like a scrotum. It's shitting on the carpet. Shit. Is it Indian? Is it African? Is that racist now? I don't know.
I saw this very beautiful meme about, there was this GTA character running on water.
Yeah.
And it says, white girls going around the world telling people what to be offended about. Just...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That can be that's... You need to, like, point out shit that, is there, but no one wants to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Like, in the case of, white girls going around the world telling people what to be offended about, that's a thing you notice, and you need to be able to, like, point it out. Like, it's people of privilege telling other people who have no privilege what they should be offended about. And it's like, Becky, why the fuck are you telling me what I should be offended about? I was fine until you showed up and you start stirring shit. Yeah. You don't need to come here with your Lululemon pants and your nice hair.
Oh, God.
And telling me that that's offensive. Like, no one cared until you showed up.
Yeah. I dated one that was that.
Oh.
I dated
You dated Becky with the good hair?
I did.
Why?
Oh, God.
Why did you date Becky with the good hair?
I dated Becky Stein. It was German.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's the most PC country.
Oh,
they're compensating for history. That's what it is.
Fuck off. Oh, yeah. Oh, she apparently she was part of the history.
Oh, jeez.
Her grandfather was an SS officer.
Oh, no.
Not an officer, a high-ranking SS officer who survived the war and went to Argentina.
Oh, no.
And took millions with her. Millions of Jewish money with him.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I dated that one. I was like, yeah.
You can't... Like,
by the way, I dated...
That's too much white guilt. That's too much white guilt.
Oh, I dated something. I wouldn't even call it someone. I dated something that was against everything I constitutionally believe.
Oh, no. You can't.
Oh man, it was so bad. I did it for 4 months and I broke up with her.
It's not great. It's not. I can't. It's
4 or 5 months. I don't know. Yeah.
Because we're comedians. What we do is basically play devil's advocate and seeing how far we can get.
Oh yeah.
Right. And we don't necessarily take it seriously, but it's just like, let's try this thought experiment where we vindicate something that's really fucked up and see how far we can go.
Exactly.
Right. We're not trying to advocate for this shit.
I don't mean it. I'm a provocateur.
Yeah.
I'm a trickster. I'm a provocateur. I'm proposing an idea in a form of a joke. Yeah. An idea, a riddle, or whatever.
Like you're going around town just going, maybe bestiality is a good thing. You know? You like meat. So.
Yeah. Why not fuck it?
Why not fuck it too? Like don't kink shame people. The only issue is that, sometimes the animal can't consent. But I feel like...
Sometimes the animal can't consent.
I feel like if you're slathering enough peanut butter in your genitals, some consent is implied. I mean, at this point, it's not really sexy. It's just a novel way of feeding your dog.
Hey, come on, Bucky. Come on. Come on.
You're not really advocating spread some Skippy on your dick and watch Rover go to town. You're not really advocating that shit. But you just want to put the idea in people's heads and just have them like...
That's the problem nowadays, that they take the joke as the fact that you said it.
You're right.
Can you believe that you said that the you should fuck your dog?
Yeah.
And it's like, no. I was saying a joke.
Yeah.
The joke is an exaggeration of a fact in life. That's why it's a joke. It won't be a joke if I say 2 + 2 = 4. I say 2 + 2 = fuck your mother.
Yeah.
So it's like zigzagging with you so that you make you laugh. It's not a statement that I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
It's like they're taking it as a statement and they take it out and write it down and print it or like put it in a blog and people get offended by it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a life. Yeah. Now I'm starting ranting about fucking PC culture, but it's so fucking stupid. Yeah, toast touch.
No, oh god, no homo?
No homo.
I don't know what the rules are. Maybe a little homo, maybe on the side like coleslaw on a plate of fish and chips. I don't know. No, but it's this thing of where I was telling this to Lynn Ruth Miller. Right, she's like the oldest comedian in the world now, I think.
I don't know who that is.
So she's this American comedian. She's like 87 now, if I'm not mistaken. And she started when she was 71. And she does a lot of these, like, her jokes are really dark. Like, she talks about the time she got beat up by like a Hell's Angel in the 1970s and shit.
Wow.
So this lady has been through some shit. Okay, so sometimes she does a bunch of jokes and not everybody's going to like them. But it's this thing of where I was telling her that like the difference between Mel Brooks and say Sarah
Silverman.
Sarah Silverman, right? So Mel Brooks did The Producers, where he did Springtime to Hitler. Yeah. And that's like hilarious because you're taking something that's really controversial and you're taking the piss out of it. Yeah. And that takes its power away, right? Yeah. That's what you want to do. Like when you do the bestiality joke, it reduces the trauma of having to think about it by giving you the ability to laugh at it. Exactly. Right. So it's a soothing effect. But here's the problem. Sometimes you can fuck up. Yeah. It's not your fault. It's just that sometimes you get an audience that will literally agree with you. Yeah. See, that's the Sarah Silverman issue where she talks about the mouthful of blood laughs. Like you could be on the stage talking about, bestiality is okay. And there will be a bunch of furries in the back. Yeah. Going, you know what? He's got a point. And the next thing you know, they'll be yiffing in the toilet when you're not looking. And you're like, this is not what I'm advocating. I just want to play with the idea. I don't expect you to actually start, finding a golden retriever so that they can retrieve the gold out of your ass or something. Just don't do that. Exactly. So, and that goes both ways. Sometimes the fear is that somebody will take you literally and agree with you, and sometimes people take you literally and hate you for it. But at the end of the day, there's no controlling those possibilities. All you can do is do the joke and hope that people take it for the irony that it's supposed to be. Right? You can't. At some level, there's only so much responsibility you can hold for the minds of people outside your own mind.
Yeah.
So you just have to do what you do.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's becoming like this. There's two things moving. One, there's an extreme movement against it, against that highly political correct mentality that people are gaining right now.
Yeah.
And they're really going for it, by the way. Like, it's gotten to a point that it's like more like ridiculous. Like, you're like, what do you want from me? Do you want me to bend over and let you fuck me because you were oppressed?
I don't.
It's this non-ending need for people to apologize for bullshit. And at the same time, there's this, like with Bill Burr's latest SNL SNL performance monologue.
Yeah.
People felt liberated by it because they were laughing at this joke, at something that you don't think you're allowed to make fun of anymore.
Right.
Like, I made a fat joke with you.
Yeah.
And you take it and you laughed at it.
Yeah.
But somebody would come in, somebody would be listening to this and be like, he's fat and you shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I get that about jokes I'm telling about myself.
Yeah.
Which I find annoying. It's like, I'm not joking about myself being fat. You don't have to feel bad on my behalf.
Yeah.
Like, this is my catharsis. Why are you telling me that what I'm doing is wrong?
Yeah. Like, there was the game coming out called Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
And one of the lead creators is this guy called Mark Pondsmith.
Yeah.
And he's a black dude.
Yeah.
And he's a genius as far as I'm concerned, because the way he talks about the design of the entire game is very, very intricate. But there were black people in the game. And people were berating him on Reddit regarding how, like, it's offensive to black people. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be offended by this. And he said, first of all, who the fuck are you to tell me what to be offended about?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck? I'm designing this. I know what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it. And there's nothing to be offended about here. What the fuck is wrong with you? There's also hypocrites in this matter as well. Bill Maher made a joke about fat people.
Right.
James Corden, who's not really fat.
Yeah.
He's chubby. He's chubby as fuck, but not fat.
Right.
He started telling Bill Maher, you shouldn't joke about this.
Right.
While continuously making fat jokes himself.
Right.
So where the hell do you stand about this, man?
I don't know. I mean,
it's about just being okay with the woke culture.
Here's what I told Lynn Ruth Miller. It's you can joke about anything you want. Okay? What really matters is not the line they talk about.
Your intention.
That's one thing. I think that Bill Maher can come off as being really abrasive and he doesn't sit well with me sometimes.
Me too.
But the thing is, the subject matter ultimately doesn't matter. You could joke about anything under the sun. I look at people like Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr.
Yeah.
And I see that they joke about some really dark shit.
Yeah.
Right? But they get away with it more or less because of the skill. It's not the subject matter, it's how good you are at writing and performing the joke.
Yeah.
Right? That is the line. If there is a joke with subject matter that's really dark and you're not good enough to do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you're good enough, then go full ham. Go completely balls out and do the joke. And if you can jump over the lasers, jump over the fucking lasers. Right? Bill Burr has jokes that get really close to him just bombing on stage.
Yeah.
And he somehow salvages himself. Like, my favorite joke that he does is about when his wife is arguing about Elvis Presley and Paper Tiger.
I remember that.
Yeah. You
can say it for the podcasters to say lesson. Yeah.
I mean, I recommend that people actually watch Paper Tiger on Netflix.
Yeah, it was very good.
Right.
It was better than his last one too.
It was a lot better than his last.
The last one wasn't
It's
It lacked Bill Burr.
It lacked
himself.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of an audience not really knowing the kind of comedian Bill Burr is, and also he was pulling back because he kind of had to explain himself mid-performance for people to understand. you know.
Yeah.
But in Paper Tiger, there's this really interesting thing where there's nothing you can say about this dude that comes off as like bigoted.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there's something really sweet about this interracial couple having an argument over cultural appropriation, you know, by virtue of being, by virtue of like watching Elvis on the TV. Is like,
he stole that from black people.
He stole it from black people. But now he's like getting the pressure like, I don't want to deal with this. You're hitting on me like I produced this music. I'm just trying to watch it down. She shuts it off, and then the wife wants to have, no, don't shut it off. Let's have a conversation about it.
Come on. Yeah.
Like,
which is a trap that girls always do.
Yeah, no, and okay, fair enough. Then she makes a bunch of points, and it's okay, that's fine. You made like 7 or 8 points I can't really argue with.
However,
you don't see me whining about you going on a skateboard. Say, hey, that's my culture. You're appropriating my culture. A dirty kid in San Francisco thought of that. Yeah. You gentrified fuck, you're stealing that. Then she starts laughing.
Yeah.
Right? And then he buries himself by going, you don't see white people complaining when you ride on an airplane from New York to San Francisco to 6 to 7 hours. And then she stops laughing.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. Okay, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. Like, okay, it's fine. I'm sorry, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because if you had the privileges and all of the educational opportunities that white people have, I'm sure black people would have come up with, like, the airplane, the jet engine.
Everything, yeah.
And everything. And then he pauses for like 3 seconds and then he goes, but your music would suck.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a give and take, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh God.
He somehow...
Yeah.
That's the perfect example of you found yourself in a hole and then you just keep digging.
Keep digging yourself.
Keep digging. And then you realize, I don't have to go up. I'm king of the mole people now. I don't need the above ground anymore.
What was it? Did you listen to Louis C.K.'s last stand-up special?
Oh, no. I didn't have what happened? You linked it to me, right? And then it's like my phone stopped working and then it's like a bunch of shit happened and now I forgot. Yeah, I'm sorry, but life happened.
It's okay. It's all right. But it was really good. I listened to the one that was leaked before when he was like just hacking out, and he did cut out some of the jokes that he got under fire for. One of them was which one of these towns in America is like got another school shooting? Pretty much any one of them had a school shooting. Stanford.
That was Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook was. One of these recent school shootings.
It's America. Just wait America. 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of the many blocks that has school shootings every often. You'd be surprised if there isn't any school shootings.
Yeah.
To be funny enough, I did saw a report about the ones that are not reported.
Yeah,
There's a considerable chunk that the news outlets just another one. But he did came under fire regarding a joke, which the point was misinterpreted. That why should I listen to because a bunch of the kids who survived the incident went to the Senate and they were telling the Senate and people who were running for presidency. This was like 4 years ago. What you should do about talking about gun control and will you be taking money from the gun industry and shit like that. And he's like, why the fuck should I listen to you just because you pushed a fat kid out of the way and run faster? It's like, why should I listen to you? But he did deleted that joke out because he really got under fire for it. Yeah. Now, talking about digging yourself out or like managing to be able to craft a dark joke in a way that is preposterously funny. Yeah. In his last special, he had this one that is talk about you shouldn't fuck kids. You shouldn't fuck kids. And then he goes,
I think we can all get aboard of that.
You all get, like, he said, I won't fuck a kid. I won't fuck a kid if my life depended on it. Right. Even if the kid, and then he keeps going on this thing. Right. On how he won't do it. Yeah. And he says, I won't fuck a kid even if a kid comes to me and says, you should fuck me, it's good. like, get away from me. Get away from me. I won't even fuck a kid if it was okay. Right. I won't fuck a kid. If they come to me and say, if you fuck this kid, no more kids will be fucked. And then he pauses and says, I'm gonna have to fuck that kid. Like,
he's just finding the line.
And then he goes, I'm saving all the children.
Yeah.
Not you. You're gonna be miserable for the rest of your life. But I'm saving all the kids.
It's this slippery slope sort of joke, right?
Yeah. Like an amateur comedian will fuck that up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The second, and the fuck up is always the way that the second the guy's gonna start talking like, oh, he's not gonna be able to land this, is it?
Yeah.
This is gonna be beautiful to watch.
What I notice about really good comedians that do dark jokes is that they tend to be older, right? Mm-hmm. Bill Burr is already bald. Dave Chappelle sounds like he's been chain smoking his entire life at this point. He's like, he no longer sounds like this.
Now he's on steroids and chain smoking.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like he's more buff, but he's clearly gonna give himself lung cancer at this point. It's a weird combination. And Louis C.K., like I remember when he was a cartoon character on this show called it was Jonathan Katz, Professional Therapist. It's a show in the 90s.
Okay.
And it featured all of these comedians that we know and love: Louis C.K., Mitch Hedberg, Dom Irira, as cartoon characters.
Crap.
As cartoon
I
characters.
should check that out.
And the premise is that they're all having therapy.
Yeah.
By this therapist called John Katz. It's a beautiful show. I love it so much. And I remember when Louis C.K. was just a new comedian and he was on that show, he still had hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. On the cartoon. They drew him like they do in real life and he still had hair. Now he's basically bald, right?
Yeah.
Miserable. He looks like if Van Gogh did chemo now.
A redhead.
It's just he's partially redhead, partially because there's no hair. But my point is that you get good at dark jokes when you embody, like, when you get older, because you take your time.
Yeah.
And you don't rush.
Yeah.
And you don't start getting too excited about it, like, triggering the libs or whatever, because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
What you want is to take your time and establish the setup and the premise of the joke, and then slowly ramp up.
Yeah.
Right? Because the problem is with the younger comedians, when they really want to do dark jokes, they just ram it in. No
lube. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody is like, "Why the fuck are you? Yeah, use more lube." But the older ones, they'll take their time and establish the joke. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a dimmer rather than a switch.
Yeah.
You don't go from light to dark while you're shitting in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you're like, "What the fuck is going on? Why am I shitting in the dark?" But if you dim the light, you go, "Oh, this is kind of nice. It's kind of romantic. Okay, now it's a little rapey, and now I'm in the dark."
Yeah. You ease people in.
Ease people in.
Like the way that, like, even that child fuck joke that he did.
Yeah.
He was having this long pause in between every set. So whenever you thought that the joke is over, he would come back to, I won't fuck a kid. And he would and then that finishes it. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, he's going to move on to the next one. I won't fuck a kid, even if I'm like, no. Yeah. And it just keeps going. Yeah. Just slowly pushes forward. And you're like, okay. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Now Dave Chappelle, on the other hand, it's the same thing, but it's structural, right?
Yeah.
He talks about, he'll tell you, you know what my problem is now? I'm just too good at this. He starts with a ridiculous premise. Yeah. Right?
He does.
Then he tells you the punchline.
Yeah.
Right. And the punchline is, then I kicked her in the pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he'll go into this long story.
Coming back to it.
And then he'll come back to it like 20 minutes later. And
as a closer.
And like,
Like, the thing about his is that he's so effortless doing it that you can tell, like, you can't tell he's telling a joke. You can tell like it feels if every time I see his special, it feels personal.
Right.
He's always kind of leaning in.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it seems like he's spitballing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But then once it's over, you're like, son of a bitch, he got me.
Yeah. It's like one of these bank heists.
Like my dream is to be at I'll never be as good as Dave Chappelle for sure, but that's the one that he had called the bird revelation. The bird revelation, and he was sitting down in a very small room. Yeah. This was like his 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He's in a small room, talks about the book called Pimp.
Yeah, Iceberg Slim.
Iceberg Slim. Yeah, I read that book.
I got the audiobook.
Yeah, it's so fucking dark.
Yeah, it's
so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Iceberg Slim. That's a very good book.
Yeah.
Very articulate man. Very articulate man, yeah. Very educated.
Yeah.
IQ of 145, 150. Yeah.
So then you got Bill Burr, and his whole thing is he tells the story, right? And then he prefaces each step of the story with explaining, "I'm a fucking idiot," right? Yeah.
Presents himself as a fool.
Yeah.
So you kind of take it. It puts him it gives him a pass.
Yeah. Because it's like, I don't actually believe this shit, but I can't help myself because I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You know? And he's angry the whole time. So like, are you a buffoon or are you genuinely angry? Are you angry at the fact that you're an idiot?
Oh man, he's sorry to derail this one, but he talks about, I listen to his podcast occasionally. Yeah. And I recently saw this video that says like Bill Burr berating his own sponsors for 15 minutes. And every time on this podcast he gets a new sponsor. One of them, he said, I think this is a scam. It was a fantasy spaceball thing. It says like, you'll earn the money for $1 million in a day if you do this, unless you lose. And it's like, guys, I think this is a scam. And then he goes on. There was one in particular which they sent him the copy. Yeah. And he can't stick with the copy. Right. You see? And the product was a flower. You send flower gift box to people. Yeah. And so Valentine's Day is coming over. Nothing will make your girl happier than to take the flower and beat her in the cunt with it.
What is wrong with you, Bill? Why do you keep shooting yourself in the dick?
Beat her in the cunt with it.
Oh, God bless.
Because we're here for Valentine's Day.
God bless.
And there was another one that told her that they sent him it was an a door alarm. Yeah. And it was like for right now for 50% off. You can only get it for $35, but it's still kind of expensive. Your house comes with an alarm. Your house comes with a doorbell. Why the fuck would you want to buy that?
He can't help himself.
Oh, he can. He suddenly he finds something snaps in his head, and he just has to release it.
Yeah.
It's like his famous one was called Sherry's Berries. Yeah. Where he was laughing. It's like, Sherry's Berries. What the fuck am I saying? Sherry's Berries. And then he lost them recently. Yeah. Because he said white covered chocolate. Because now they put on a clan hood. A KKK hood on them. And then immediately they canceled it.
Oh God, it's like, you know, pointing the elephant out in the room, right? Yeah. It's like this motherfucker has a circus, parade of elephants going through his living room, and all he can do is elephant, fucking elephant.
You can't ignore it.
Fucking elephant. You know, he can't help it.
Yeah.
God bless him, though. It's really cool though to see as they've aged and mellowed out, how they take the inability to keep your mouth shut about things you see, and really spread it out. Yeah, that's something I really hope to achieve, because we're all sort of young And we still haven't really developed the patience to just like, so here's the thing. Because we want to keep hitting them with joke after joke after joke after joke.
You want that rush.
You want that rush, and you don't have enough time. You got 3 to 5, maybe like at best I got 15 minutes. Okay? Yeah. And that can feel like a really long time on stage as well. But suddenly you realize it might not be enough time for the kind of things I want to do.
Yeah.
Like if you got a long storytelling bit and whatnot. So far I'm lucky. All of my storytelling bits are about, things that are just situations, not stories.
Yeah.
Like when I go to a mamak shop, this actually happened to me. I go to a mamak shop and I'm mid-meal and some dude tries to sell me a belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, at what point did you think that my pants was gonna be fucking loose? Like that's that little bit of me that's like Bill Burr. Like you can't help but see the absurdity of the situation.
Yeah.
But it's like you still have enough self-control to not tell the dude there and then.
Yeah.
But you go off to somebody who will listen to you and you go, why the fuck does this dude think that my pants won't stay up after I've eaten enough food at 3 p.m., calling it lunch, enough to feed wartime Yemen?
One question.
Yeah.
I think we end the podcast with this. What is the darkest joke you've ever heard that is your favorite?
The darkest joke I ever heard.
Yeah.
They're all kind of dark.
Me too, yeah.
They're all kind of dark. Recently. It wasn't even a comedian. It was just a couple of like young kids just like reacting to Reddit posts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it wasn't that the joke was especially dark. It's just a really young girl in her 20s who's like really sort of like wholesome and innocent. And it's her boyfriend that's doing all of the shitty dark jokes. Uh-huh. Right. And one time the Reddit post was about like Hiroshima or something. Yeah. Or like a mushroom cloud, right? The comic book was about 2 people looking at clouds in the sky. Oh, that one looks like a giraffe. And like, oh, that one looks like a butterfly. Oh, that one looks like a mushroom. And then the fuck is vaporized.
Oh, God. Wow. Jesus.
I know.
Oh, wow.
And then her boyfriend was like, that's what happened in Hiroshima. You can't roast people. That's why you can't roast Japan about Hiroshima. And then she says, because they roasted them once already. And I was like, wow. Damn, I gotta pause and just take a walk.
Oh, shit.
Just like, I thought you were wholesome, bitch. I thought you were nice and sweet. That's why I liked you. Turns out your heart is made of black darkness and tar and pitch. Oh my God. It's not that the joke is dark, especially. It's who it's coming out of sometimes.
Yeah, that too.
Right?
Sometimes it can come out of like unexpected.
Yeah.
Which also gives you a glimpse into their soul. You're like, oh, you're fucked up. You just hide it well.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite jokes is actually told by my mom. Uh-huh. And she tries to like get on my level to relate to what I do. Yeah. And most of the time it's just like silly mom jokes, right? They're just like weird puns. Mm-hmm. But one time it was like, I can't remember who it was. I think it was somebody very notable in government, in U.S. government died. Yeah. And it was during the coronavirus. And then Trump got the coronavirus. Yeah. And then my mom just like over dinner, all these people dying in America, and yet they're not like taking steps to stop the virus. You could say that America's flag is at half mast. I'm like, oh, Mom. I got up and I just had to take a walk. Like, oh, Mom. Holy shit. Jesus, Mom.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I had to breathe for a second there. Just, oh, shit.
I think we can end on that.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. This was a weird mishmash of a podcast.
Yeah. We went from self-actualization to moms making really dark jokes.
Yeah. Mom, yeah. My mom. It was like every curse word every curse word I know in my life, I got it from my mom.
Oh, that's love right there.
Oh, yeah, that's love. And she's like, don't say that, don't say that. She gets angry. I'm like, fucking cuss. And then, like, when I say something, I don't say that, like, toward her, or I try to say it around her or anything, but, like, she has heard me say it, like, when I'm talking to my brother or something. And like, where did you hear that? Like, you did. You said that, Mom. I was 7 and you were throwing darts at me. You said that, Mom. Oh, God. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Till next week. Next week, want to do it?
Yeah, no. Definitely. I'll bring the lube.
I get the balls.
All right.
Toodles. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. We got it. Yeah, episode 4. AHP 4.
Nice.
I'm gonna check this. I don't know the quality EP level.